The Channels 24 app means you'll always be in touch with the news. Get the latest local and international stories on the go. And there's our social media platforms for news from around the world. Watch the news live and play videos that matter to you. You can also check the eyewitness section to report events around you. Just click on the eyewitness icon and follow the instructions to upload your content. Channels 24 app, the news at your fingertips.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program. I'm Sean Kimbaloye in Lagos. Well, democracy is all about choices, choosing between or among alternatives. Is it a case of the more the merrier? Well, in the United States, which many consider as one of the greatest democracies in the world, the electorates are presented with two main choices, largely speaking. There are more than two parties in the United States anyways, and maybe left with voting the lesser of two evils. In Nigeria, the case is different. As we speak, there are about 68 political parties. But are the parties synonymous to the options available to a Nigerian voter? On the ballot paper, yes. But on who becomes what? Not quite. Judging from the trend since the multi-party system, which was reintroduced in Nigeria, it's 299 days to the general elections. And as we approach the crucial year, Nigerians are once again coming to terms with the electoral choices they have to make. From all indications, 2019 election promises to be far more complex in terms of which political individuals to vote for in different positions available. The political space is welcoming new entrants, promising a departure from the ruling APC and the main opposition, the PDP. My first guest tonight is one of those you can say is an outsider in the Nigerian political arena. Joining me tonight is a media entrepreneur, the publisher of Sahara Reporters, and a presidential aspirant, Omoyele Sowore. Thank you so much for coming on the program tonight.
Thank you for bringing me on the show.
It's quite interesting. A lot of people who knew you when you were a union leader in University of Lagos, yes, who will say, what exactly is it coming to do? Wanted to become a president? Some have even criticized it to say that's asking far too much.
Well, you know, the problem with Nigeria is that a lot of people have had their dignity and the self-esteem battered so much that they've internalized oppression and internalized inferiority complex, to the extent that they don't believe that if you're not the son of a former governor or a former president, you cannot aspire to the position of the president of the country. And so they ask you to go and become a councillor, but they have forgotten that for people like me, when some of the characters today, some of the players in the political arena today were hiding under their bed, I was fighting for the democracy that we have today. It will be 20 years by 2019 that our democracy that we fought for as student leaders from 1989 to 1999 came to be. So I am not actually a neophyte, as you've implied. It's only that I have not been involved in electoral politics in the sense that I have not been a partisan politician. I've worked. So
unionism is on one hand, politics, mainstream politics is on one hand. So if you refer to Donald Trump as an outsider, he was even referred to as an outsider. Yeah. He is an outsider in the mainstream politics. So you are.
I don't want to use Donald Trump as a yardstick for judging myself. That would be going too far, extremely to somewhere I don't want to go, because I have my reservation about his personality. But if you want to use that, I don't even fit in. I fit in into an area where I have been a monitor and a fighter for democratic rule in the country. I have been part of every democratic development in Nigeria, from the period of June 12 to the period where we eventually transitioned from military rule to democratic rule, or whatever you want to call it. I was part of the people who fought against third term by former President Obasanjo, fought to help a minority presidential person, vice president then, to become a president of Nigeria. Fought
in what way were you fighting this?
Oh, you know, there used to be something called the Yaradua cabal in this country. When former President Yaradua was sick in Saudi Arabia, brain dead, and the cabal held this country to ransom. It was through a media platform I operated, known as Sahara Reporters, that we were able to find out that he was sick and we needed to move from him to another person. That was Jonathan, who was his VP then. But all the forces around the cabal made it impossible for Jonathan to even know the real state of health of Jonathan, or for the Nigerian people to do so. We came up and said so, and with the reporting we're doing constantly, Nigeria was able to find out that they didn't have a president anymore. There were protests, and Jonathan came to power.
Mr. Sowore, yes. Because the big question would be leadership. Political leadership is different from unionism.
No, you are.
And a lot of Nigerians will ask you.
You are looking at.
A lot of people will look at your profile.
You keep mentioning unionism as if it's the only thing I've ever done in my life.
No, that's what a lot of people know you for.
No, it's not true.
I mean, especially those who have followed you for a long time.
I think recently most people actually know me as a media entrepreneur who created one of the best media platforms in this country that challenged the status quo and had become successful and competed globally. That's the Sahara Reporters. So you cannot claim that the last time you heard about me was...
No, I'm not saying the last time. But I'm saying that what looks like what you are, what you want to do now is what I'm relating to. But the question would be your profile and your credential in wanting to be a president of Nigeria.
What does a president of Nigeria want to be? Is a person who has political will to do what is right, is a person who is well educated, intellectual enough, somebody who has integrity. The people that you are likely referring to as having experience are the people who have experience in looting this country, people who have experience in assassination, political gerrymandering, carpetbagging. I'm not that. I'm talking to you as someone who has monitored the process. There's a video, by the way, that is online that you can find with me standing behind Bashorem K.O. Abiola in 1993. I was 21 years old. It was the most difficult to stand by a person of that status. I stood there. And you cannot just look at me and say people who were hiding under their bed in 1992 who came and benefited from my sweat are more qualified than me. That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
What is the reason, your main reason for coming out this time?
We've got to a point where Nigerians like me across the country, across the world are saying enough is enough. We no longer want very mediocre leaders, very corrupt leaders, leaders who are unprepared, and leaders who don't know their left from their right. There's also an issue of age, and I'm not saying that because if you say age, then you have to look about young people who are not exactly the right people for the positions they're occupying now. In the Senate and the House of Rep, some of them are governors, but young people who have astute qualities to be able to defend what the people of this country want, how they want it, and how it can be achieved. People who have exposure, people who have done the right things when it's difficult to do so. And that's where I come in. So those ones, and if you want to talk about education, I'll probably be the first candidate at this time who has a master's degree in public administration from an Ivy League school in the U.S. I graduated from Unilag, and I went to the U.S. and obtained a master's degree at Columbia University in New York. I don't want to brag, but I'm more qualified than any of these guys that you have out there today who are running this country. That's why I said the other day, without missing words, when I arrived in Nigeria, that I can run this country better than the current rulers or leaders. Even in my sleep, this country will be run better than they're doing.
Because I will take you up on how you hope to
I hope you have more time.
Time is never a friend here.
Yes.
But we try as much as possible to touch on very sensitive issues as much as the political landscape is concerned.
Yes.
When President Muhammadu Buhari declared he was going to run for 2019, how does that make you? Or how
it
did
didn't
that
make me feel
feel
anyhow. It's the same way President Goodluck Jonathan declared I was running for 2015. It didn't make me feel anyhow. I knew he was going to lose, and I'm convinced that President Buhari, having disappointed and failed as a leader, and disappointed majority of Nigerians will lose in 2019.
What makes you feel so? And when you say someone fails, how do you describe what
were his plans for coming to power? He promised security, but the people of Dauchi know better. Boko Haram is still flourishing. They said they will bring about...
You say flourishing?
Boko Haram walked into Dapchi, picked up 110 girls. When they were done with the negotiation, they walked back and even addressed a rally in Dapchi. It's never happened in the country. It happened under Jonathan, but they weren't that brazen. It shows that they are virtually upgraded in terms of their audacity to do what they like. He promised that they'll make this economy better, they'll fight corruption, but you know what their corruption is about? APC has a list today that's a joke, PDP has a list, but they are doing us a favor. When we come to power in 2019, we take the APC list and the PDP list, and they can then go figure it out at the EFCC.
But when you're talking about President Muhammadu Buhari, perhaps you've lost sight of the kind of person he is in terms of political mileage that he's gotten over the last years. He's contested about 4 times now. And if you look at it, he's lost 3 times. But at every point that he contested, he's gotten nothing less than 10 million votes.
So let me do the math for you. He used to get 12 million votes from people who believed that he could deliver. And they included people in Benue, they include people in Plateau, they included people in Borno who thought that he could do it. They included Nigerian young people who felt that he would give them employment, he would give them a corruption-free country, he would give them electricity, he would give them, a country where people are not stealing. But all of those people, if you take them out, I just came back from Kano, well received. We went to Kaduna to have a town hall meeting, huge reception. And what we heard in the North in particular, which was shocking and amazing to me, was that every person we met was, especially poor people, Talakawas were saying, we want our children to go to school. They kept saying Makarata, Makaranta, which means that they know that if their children are educated, they have social security for the future.
All right.
Buhari has failed completely to deliver on that.
No credit at all for this government.
Oh, come on. If there is, it will be on your show.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So let me talk about what you plan to do differently.
Yes.
I've seen some of your 8-point agenda of your manifesto. You said you're going to create 5 million new jobs.
Yes.
100,000 minimum wage to federal workers, 17 million new homes, power capacity to 24,000. How do you hope to achieve this? First and foremost, 5 million new jobs. How do you hope to do that?
So if, for example, we build 4,500 megawatts of electricity through solar alone in northern Nigeria, right? It will create nothing less than 1 million jobs. Because just to put the pieces together, as they did in Morocco recently, Morocco is now supplying power to France and Malta, just because through solar, it will engage nothing less than 1 million people. If we hire 200,000 teachers that we promised to do first quarter in office, it will hire 1,000. If we purge the civil service of ghost workers, 80,000 of them in the police alone, and we put in real people, that will give us nothing less than 500,000 jobs. If we put Nigerians to work to build power lines, bridges, rail lines, and the construction site that we plan to put Nigeria into, we're going to have 2 million people engaged there. If you start agriculture, I'm not talking about agriculture of, the old people where they claim that rice mills are folding up in Malaysia or Singapore, whereas there are no rice mills in Nigeria. Real agriculture, we'll have 1 million people. If we give people electricity, which is what we promised, we'll light up this country, and the potential of the Nigerian youth, which is innovative and creative, comes to be, technology is the biggest industry we have. That will be another 1 million jobs. Already we've done 5 million. We have not even gone to NNPC yet, or oil, because oil is lazy economy.
How do you hope to win an election in Nigeria, a presidential election? You are from Ondo State.
There's no magic about it. Since I've been going around the country, I've been in the East, I've been in the Northwest, I've been everywhere. And all Nigerian young people are asking for is a leader who can take them to progress and prosperity, right? Winning the election, see, these guys are relying on paper money as we speak. They've even forgotten that there is currency that is called cryptocurrency. They have no idea how the world works. Just like when I started Sahara Reporters 12 years ago, the media in this country didn't know anything about new media. They were relying on physical newspapers. And I told them, look, these newspapers are going to the museum. They didn't believe me. Now they know better. So there's a lot more that's out there than what they're used to. They're relying on togs, branded rice, Ankara, and all of that.
You have not told us how you hope to win an election.
I'm just telling you that we're going to be canvassing the way we've never done before. Who is doing town hall meetings now?
All of them. I've been to the question East, I've been to where do you get your funding from?
Open, transparent funding. On GoFundMe, for example, we've raised over $20,000. The plan is to raise $200 from 10,000 Nigerians. So far, $20,000 raised, and we're far away. We're still 10 months to election. And we are not spending too much money because we are not bribing people.
Okay. And so the question is, on what platform are you running?
coalition of parties clear. We have already 5 parties in the bag, and there are more coming in, because we have to defeat the behemoth of PDP and APC the way they are. They have to be defeated. By the way, like somebody said today, there's no difference between APC and PDP. They're just coalition of desperados.
So when are you declaring the party exactly? The party that
Why are you in a hurry? Other parties haven't even elected their candidates.
You are here today, that's what we are asking.
Yeah, ask Buhari. Buhari, even as an APC candidate, has not been declared. Whomever is contesting on other platforms have not been declared. Why are you in a hurry with us? We love it that you're asking us, because it seems like you all are excited about the future, and we love that.
Mr. Omoyele Sowore, media entrepreneur, and someone who has declared that he wants to run for the #1 job in Nigeria, has been talking to me. Many thanks for your time on the program tonight. It's a pleasure talking to you, and I wish you all the best.
I'll see you on May 29, 2019 as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you, Sowore, for your time. Well.